Okay, so for a lot of you guys that are probably surprised that I'm on a Monday, it's because at the last minute I decided to go live because this hurricane is taking its sweet ass time off the coast of West Palm, off of South Florida, just chilling. It just decided to stop, take a break in the Bahamas, and legit pummel the shit out of that island. So I don't know if I'm gonna have internet tomorrow if this thing decides to take a turn. So right now, what's happening in West Palm Beach? Absolutely nothing. Nothing's happening. Okay, so if you're hearing day to day, hour to hour reports by people, literally nothing is happening. It's just like a rainy, regular, semi-windy day, so nothing is happening. So I decided to go live today so that in the event that this hurricane knocks shit down tomorrow and I won't have internet, that at least you'll have something to look at and see, for the week. Hey, Jeremiah Camp, real quick, I wanted to ask you if the restaurant you work at is open and when they're open, because I might have some plans later on. Not today, obviously, but we'll see what the plan is later on. So how you guys doing? Talking Shit, episode 13. A little bit early, didn't announce it, didn't pre-plan it. I just said, fuck it, let's go live. Fuck it, we're doing it live. I want to talk about a couple things today about Mustang Week being canceled. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Like, okay, first of all, if you planned your only vacation around Mustang Week, you're a loser. And at the end of the day, Mustang Week to me is not that important. So the fact that it got canceled because the governor wants to keep everybody safe is very good. I'm just sad that all of the Adams Polish people and the Corsa Extremes and the Burble Tune. Could you imagine if people were legit, oh, I got my Corsas and my Burble Tune. I'm gonna freak people out. It sucks for you guys, and I'm sorry. So you're gonna have to make alternate plans. But today, Jeremiah Camp says we're closed until Tuesday as of now. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So what I did want to talk about was the Make-A-Wish car that American Muscle built for a young kid. Got wrecked last week, maybe late last week, Thursday or Friday, you started seeing, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you started seeing pictures of this car just absolutely destroyed. Now, for a lot of you that don't know, American Muscle has a car show every year, and they build a car for a Make-A-Wish, recipient. I don't know if the kid's okay. I just hope the kid's okay, because the car, it was a Coyote swap Fox body with a power by the hour, swap bracket kit. It was tuned by Lund Racing. So all the people that I know were involved in the build. And then the kid got a hold of it, and either he crashed it or somebody crashed it. I have no idea what ended up happening, but the car is absolutely wrecked, junk, destroyed. So that leads me to my next point. Do you know how fast a Coyote swapped Fox body is? It is insanely. It's a missile, okay? You got to understand, when you give a car to someone or a car is provided to someone, you got to make sure that they're well equipped to handle that thing. Usually guys that can afford a Coyote swap Mustang are adults, grown-ass men. Yeah, Eric Batchelor says, I hope the kid is okay. That was a sweet Coyote swap. It was a beautiful car, but the kid, wrecked it, and the car is wrecked. And you got to understand, look, a lot of us, old guys, old motherfuckers, we grew up having 225 horsepower Fox bodies, and we cut our teeth in that. And then we slowly progressed and put heads, cams, and then eventually got really good. So we grew with the car. But when you give someone a 420 rear wheel horsepower Fox body right off the bat, and it's probably his first or second car, he has to respect it. He has to respect it. And unfortunately, he ended up, sorry about that, guys, just getting all these texts. Unfortunately, he ended up wrecking it. Now, therein lies inexperience, obviously. But then it brings me to my next point. Kevin Hart is out there destroying his shit too. I hope he's okay. Kevin Hart was reported to be involved. I don't know if he was driving or not, but he was reported to have been involved in wrecking his Hellcat swapped CUDA over the weekend. He's also in the hospital. The car's absolutely fucking wrecked. So you got to understand, a lot of these guys that are out there that are inexperienced and have very crazy high horsepower vehicles or super light high revving vehicles, you got to respect these cars. You can't just go out there and expect it to just dump the clutch and just expect everything is good. Therein lies the burnout culture, right? I don't understand burnouts. Like, I don't go to a Cletus and Coffee, Cletus and Cars, and watch burnouts. I think to me, okay, look, if you enjoy burnouts and you enjoy doing burnouts, man, that's on you. Congratulations. I think it's the dumbest shit on the fucking planet if you just sit there on a block and just burn the car down because you're destroying the car. I'm like, oh, burnout's cool if you're warming up the tires to go down the quarter mile. But at the end of the day, if it's just a burnout to burn tires, it's kind of dumb. So you see a lot of these people that are like, oh, this thing does great burnouts. And then like guys that get like Mustang owners, new Mustang owners are notorious for doing stupid shit after a Cars and Coffee. The smartest people on the planet, and I see it every month here in West Palm, they hold the Cars and Coffee over at Palm Beach Lakes outlets. And you could see at the end of the show, 11:30, 12 o'clock, people start to line up at the exit to potentially get a guy wrecking, getting pulled over, or doing a burnout. And it's almost like people can't stop themselves. Like, I gotta do a burnout, and these people are they're gonna blow their minds. This car just burns rubber. And I go, oh my God, what the fuck are you doing? So every time I see someone do a burnout, I'm like befuddled and confused. I go, I don't do burnouts for the sake of doing burnouts. It's just foreign to me. And I know, oh, he's not a real car guy, he doesn't like burnouts. No, I'm not a stupid fuck squid that just wants to do burnouts and beat my shit up for other people's pleasure. I'm only gonna do a burnout if it's right before a quarter mile trip, down the track or on the street. I'm not one of those do a burnout type of dudes. But yeah, it's so sad that Make-A-Wish car got wrecked. And again, I hope the kid is okay. I'm not talking shit on the kid. I'm talking shit on the fact that if you're inexperienced, you can't just jump into a badass built car and expect to be okay. You have no experience. That car has no traction control, no stability track. Same thing with Kevin Hart's car. No stability track, no traction control, no nothing. So the moment you do a 1-2 shift in an automatic or a 1-2-3, and that thing's going 100, wheels are turning at about 120 mile an hour at the top of third gear, or if it's a manual Mustang, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour in second gear, depending on the trans gearing, it's going to be a bad time and you're just going to head towards the wall. So that's one of those things where blew my mind that a car was given to a kid so inexperienced. It being such a high-end car, a car like that, a Coyote swap Fox body, usually belongs in the hands of an experienced person who probably built it. Because if they built it, they respect it. They respect the amount of hours that went into it. They really took their time. So about the last thing they're gonna do is stupid, dumbass burnouts or go really fast, taking turns, doing dumb shit, and lose control. I'm 41 years old. I've owned 30 Mustangs in my life. I have never lost control of a Mustang to the point where I'm like, God, take the wheel. Holy shit, I am. Oh, and it just does this. Even in the snow, I never lost that kind of control because it was my only car and I respected it. And I didn't want to, I didn't do stupid shit. I didn't do dumb burnouts. I didn't get involved in any of that dumb shit. I know, I'm lame as fuck, right? You don't do burnouts, you're fucking lame. Hey, I never wrecked my shit, so fuck all that. G-Money says, hell, one of the members of Migos wrecked his demon. Also enjoyed my Luntoon, Alex. Migos. Oh, so was it Takeoff or, I know there's Takeoff. So Migos is Takeoff, the guy who fucks Cardi B, Offset, Takeoff, and the other one. And Migos is short for amigos, like friends. Someone said, stay safe. Don't say my name says 2010 GT500 worth a buy for cheap money. You won't catch me dead in a 2010 GT500 for over $27,000, over $25,000 even. It's an iron block, aluminum head, good trans. No, it has knock sensors-ish, no wideband. It's a bastard child. But with a Whipple and a TVS, it's going to make power, but you just won't catch me dead in those things. I'd rather buy an 07 and 09 or a 11-12, period. G-Money says, okay, about the Migos guy crashing his shit. Brembo Joe says, I lost my 766 Rear wheel horsepower, 2012 D1 SC Pro Charge Mustang to accident. Now I have an 18350. What do you recommend as a build? How did you? I hope you didn't crash that car. If you have a GT350 2018, keep it at A for a little bit. Get used to it. And then they make centrifugal kits for those cars. They make Vortex, I think, Paxton's. I think they make Vortex kits. I think they make Procharger kits. And Whipple makes a kit for it. So I would highly recommend a Whipple kit for it. Why? It's positive displacement. The cars lack torque. The Whipple brings it back. You can make 700 wheel, no problem. The issue is going to be the little clutch, the shitty transmissions. The GT350 transmissions are not that great. Neither are the clutches. So the moment you have to upgrade the clutch and transmissions, at that point, just get a T56 Magnum and a Mantic triple disc or a dual clutch. 26 spline setup and swap it and then you'll have a really reliable car for a long time if it's supercharged. And I know that's another $5,000. I get it. But if you got a GT350, you're already dick swinging. So why not swing your dick a little more? Fuck it. Why not? Right? Hellcat. G Money says Hellcat. Knew it was one of those. Right. Peyton Pruitt says, what's your thoughts on the 350R now that the prices are going down on them? Any known issues that you know of them? Would you buy one used? Yeah, I'd buy one used. I'd buy a D-striped black GT350R in a heartbeat. They're a great track car, but man, you're still looking at what? 40? 45? Some dealerships are stupid with those cars and they're sought after. But I would absolutely get a GT350R in a heartbeat. It's a great car. If you've ever tracked a car or opened a tracked car, I was lucky enough that Frank Perdomo's road race car, he let me borrow it and on a track session, and it was the most fun I've had in a real long time. So a GT350R is more car than most people are capable of handling. Okay, a lot of the times that people get into a Ford GT Mustang with springs and tires, and that car is probably better well equipped to handle turns. Your skill will never outmatch that car unless you're really good. And then if you have a 350R, Ford only spent, I don't know, about $1 billion developing everything in that car. So I think it's very well made and very well rounded. So yeah. 40, yeah, an R for 40 to 45, exactly. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. I don't know how much R's are going for, like a 16R or 17R. It's probably big money. So I'm just not a fan of spending 40 and up on a 3 to 4 year old car. No, thank you. PR Chico says, I got ragged on by Camaro vet friends to keeping traction control on in my 15 S550 with intake catback and 85. You should get ragged on because a tire takes care of that. A lot of people do the same thing over and over. They get an intake, E85 tune, off-road exhaust, and then they keep the Pirelli P0s out back. And I'm like, why would you keep the stock tires out back? You're making good power. Oh, I'm going to keep advanced track on. So what happens? You spin a little bit, the throttle shuts, and then it comes back, and then you email me going, there's a little bit of hesitation going on. Can you look at the tune real quick? And then it's like, torque source 2. I think that's traction control. Torque source 2 all the way through first and second gear. I'm like, it's traction control. You and your Pirelli P0 Neros, whatever the fuck you got back there, they ain't going to do shit. Get a tire on that car. But if you have traction control, it'll... No, come on. Shut the fuck up. Spend a little money on suspension and a tire, and you're good to go. Beer money. Thank you. I don't drink beer, but appreciate that, brother. Mike... NJ, I think it's New Jersey, says, hi Alex, love your channel, bought a 13 Boss Mustang and I'm picking up a Procharger Stage 2. Oh no! Safe power level and boost. Thanks, man. 10 PSI, 11 PSI tops. Boss 302 Mustangs have the Roadrunner engine. It's stout. Just make sure you have good, sweet fuel going through it. Don't be like, it's got a Roadrunner engine, so I'm going to shove 14 pounds of boost through it on 91 octane. No. 10 and 11 pounds of boost on 93. Good 93. 1000cc injector, whether it be a Dietrich 95, ID 1050X, or a FIC 1000H. Booster pump, 10, 11 pounds, 660, 650 wheel, chilling forever. It'll last you a long time. You don't got to worry about it. That's kind of the nice thing about those setups there. You don't need to ring it out and be like King Dingaling, like, I make 780 on pump gas. Yeah, cool, once. Fuck all that. Hanrit Kumar. He asks, how much horsepower and torque? Come on, dude. How much horsepower and torque should a 13 GT with a CJ Twin 65 FRPP and 331 have? I don't know. I don't know what fuel you're running. I don't know where you're located. But let's say you have an E85 equipped CJ car. Let's just call it a CJ car because that's what we call it. CJ, I don't have to know the throttle body, the cold air, the intake dictates everything else. Whether you have a JLT CJ version, a PMAS CJ version, or a FRPP, which I think is the best on that car version, you should be on E85. You should be into the 460 range. You know, like a stock 18. Like the 460 range, high 450s. If you have cams, it can bump it up another 20 rear wheel horsepower. Torque is going to be low because the CJ doesn't make shit for torque. It makes good horsepower. I can't give you a quote on torque. I don't know who's tuning it. Depends on when the cams are being phased and where they're being phased. But you're going to be in the 460 to 480 range depending if it has cams or not on E85. I'm not going to give you pump gas numbers because who the fuck still rolls around on pump gas? Miguel Guzman, I'd say me Guz, says YOLO, YOLO, YOLO. Aqua Control says E85 killed my O2 or moisture. Moisture. E85, E85 burned E85. Remember, the O2s sense burned gases, not unburned gases. So if you get water in them, like a lot of people, I had a guy get a set of long tube headers, and he went through a puddle. And he goes, I went through a puddle and all of a sudden my O2 stopped working. But I'm running 85. Do you think the 85 did it? I said, I think the puddle did it. I really think the puddle did it. So more than likely, sir, it's moisture that caused your O2s to go to shit. But why does it happen more on E85? Well, E85 tends to have a lot of moisture. It has the similar properties that it allows it to retain moisture, okay? So if your O2s are angled at a 90, meaning coming in like this and your collector is here and your O2 is here, okay? For those of you that are listening, just look at the screen real quick. This is what I call a 90-degree angle, okay? And this is a 45. So if the O2 sensor is like this or like this, as opposed to like this, it's less likely to keep moisture in the O2. If it's like this, it'll just get right on top of the sensor and potentially have an issue. If it's angled at a 45, it's less likely to have an issue. He says, bro, it's Monday. Bro, I got a hurricane that seemed to park itself in the Bahamas. So I want to make sure that I give you a show this week, then potentially nothing tomorrow. Supposedly, this is the track. I'm not a weatherman, but supposedly the track of the hurricane says it'll be here tonight and it'll just kick our ass because it's not even going 5 miles an hour, and it'll just kick our ass for a couple of days. So I wanted to make sure I bring you a show as opposed to delaying you, because for all I know, this apartment complex could be gone or just have no internet or no electricity for a couple of days. So I wanted to make sure that you got a show, something, look at my face, whatever. God bless you, Alex. My bad. No problem, JF. It's all good, man. I got you. I mean, look, I'm just trying to bring you guys a show. I was bored as fuck. I got all my supplies and I'm just sitting here eating all of my rice cakes. I'm just drinking all of the water. The gym is closed. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to go live because for all I know, tomorrow there will be no West Palm. So we'll see how it all goes. Hey, Tim Verrett, Slim Tim 04 says, yo, it's Tim Verrett. I appreciate your revision on my Calamar Stage 3 trans earlier this week. You responded in like 15 minutes to my email. Now, Tim Verrett has a 15 to 17 manual Whipple-equipped Mustang. His tune is so on point that I now use Tim Verrett's tune as a base file for anybody that has a Whipple vehicle with a 132 Whipple-equipped manual S550 with a 132 throttle body. Why do I do that? Because this shit is perfect. The MAF curve is perfect. The throttle data is perfect. The only thing I have to change is a couple of things for your car, whether it's a performance package or not, or the injector and fuel system, and I know that tune is super repeatable. So every single time I've used Slim Tim 04, aka Tim Verrett's tune on a Whipple manual S550, it just works, meaning our tunes are so repeatable that when I pick and choose a good one that I super dialed in with Tim, I think his made 700 wheel on pump gas, and I think it's like making 800 wheel now on E85, and he did the right thing. Bigger injectors, dual return style fuel system, E85. and making like 800 wheel. And then he upgraded to a Ben Calamer Stage 3 transmission and asked for a revision. Why? Because when you upgrade your transmission and it has different gear ratios, it fucks with a lot of things on the S550, namely the shift assist. What is shift assist, Alex? So when you shift your manual Mustang S550 from first to second, do this next time. Run it up, put it in second, but don't take the clutch out. Notice that the RPMs hang for a moment. They hang for a little bit. And then do it again in second and third. Clutch in, put it in third, but don't take the clutch out. Notice the RPMs hang. Why? Because it is upshift rev matching so that there's less of a clunk on the transmission. It goes woo, and it catches the next gear. But the computer goes, gear ratios have to match in order for us to anticipate at what RPM the car is going to be at the next gear change. The Ben Calamer transmission changes that, the stage 3 only. Stage 1 or stage 2 has stock gears. Only the G-Force internal stage 3 has different gear ratios. So what we have to do is get with Ben Calamer and say, hey Ben, what are the gear ratios on the transmission? He provides us the gear ratios, the number of holes for the OSS sensor. We plop that into the tune. Then your cruise control works, your shift assist works. Everything just works. So if you are going to get a Ben Calamer Stage 3 transmission in any Mustang 11 to 2020, you're going to have to let us know. You're going to have to revise it, but the S550, we got a file that just works. The 2011 to 2014 Mustang, here's a file that just works. It's just a gear ratio change and a couple other things, couple of magical things, and the car is going to run just like stock. But Tim Barrett, thanks for stopping, and I appreciate that. And he gave me something to talk about for about 10 minutes. Hey man, love the channel. Fletcher Schrott says, hey man, love the channel, especially the early videos. Anybody you recommend for BMW tuning? So I think Hydra down here in Florida, if I see that name all the time at the track, they have a really cool logo, but look at them. Maybe they're in that world. I'm not 100%, but that's all I know. Hydra, Hydra. Maybe you can Google it, see if it's something that will at least lead you in the right direction. I don't know anything about import tuning or German tuning or anything, but Hydra seems to have pretty quick German and Japanese cars at the local track I go to, so that's all I know. Devin just paid me $2 to say nothing, and Shabs1 gave me, I think, Australian version of $5, which is like 2 kangaroo nuts. So, yeah. Excellent. So, Brew Chain says, 13.6 R80 car, Luntune, from a dig. Car shifts from first to second, then immediately into third. It's probably spinning the tires. Is this because I'm spinning? Worth logging? Yeah. So, okay, this is a good, Brew Chains. This is a good time to explain anticipation logic, right? So 6R80 equipped cars from the factory have anticipation logic. What that means is based on gear ratio and acceleration rate, the car will anticipate the next gear change. So what happens is there's a calculation that happens between, I would think, OSS and mile an hour, where and then there's a rate. So let's say on the 1-2, you're spinning the tire. Well, if the anticipation logic is still active, it's gonna anticipate the gear change sooner. So what'll happen is if you take off, you're spinning the tires. If anticipation logic is still enabled, the car will probably short shift. It'll go whoop, boop, boop, and then it'll think that you're accelerating so quickly and your mile an hour is increasing so quickly, it'll anticipate the shift sooner. Now, there are tips and tricks that we do without giving much away that disables that. And the car will shift at an RPM all the time. RPM. But how does anticipation logic work? Well, if you have a very high horsepower vehicle and you have anticipation logic still enabled, think of trying to catch a baseball from a fast throwing pitcher. Let's say, for instance, why does the car work when you're just driving normal? Well, think of throwing a baseball at 40 mile an hour and you anticipate closing your glove to catch that baseball. Imagine now the ball is coming at 90 mile an hour. So it's a lot tougher to catch the baseball because you can't anticipate when it's coming. Or imagine a catcher that doesn't know what is coming at him. A slider, a curveball, a breaking ball, or a 101 mile an hour heater. You don't know. So when the transmission sees an insane acceleration rate and anticipation is still enabled, it's going to try to catch that ball quick, and it might come off as a short shift. That's the best way I can explain it to people in terms of anticipation logic. There are tips and tricks that we can do in a tune when you buy it. I'm not going to tell you tuners what to do because I've seen a lot of people hit me up on the backside for tuning help. And look, I want to help you. I want to make sure that you go fast. I'm a fan of Ford and Mustangs and I want them all to go fast. But I can't give away tips and tricks over PM. Okay, I can't go up there and be like, yo, do this. No. That can't. If you want a calibration from Lund Racing, you're going to have to pay for it. And then we will make your car go fast. And then if you want to know how we made it happen, well, we're not going to explain it. We'll just say it's pixie dust and fairy bullshit and unicorn piss, and you'll be good to go. Tyler Hornsby asks, when will Ben make a transmission for the MT82 2018? I don't think he's on it at all. I really don't think he's on it at all. I don't know. I hope it's sooner than later, but I just don't think he's on it at all. I think, if anything, it needs upgrading is the forks. I don't know if the gears are going to be revised. I would hope not, because I like the gear ratio to stay the same so we don't have to fuck with it in the tune. That way we can just say, put the trans in on the same tune and go, because the gear ratio is pretty favorable, similar to a GT500. Isaiah Lopez says, free-flowing exhaust? Good man. He understands the game. He says, free-flowing exhaust. I love you, brother. Ported Boss 302. PMAS E85. Is a 200 shot possible? Anything's possible. Is it recommended? No. Gen 1 Coyote Texas-based single nozzle nitrous outlet system. I don't like 200 shots through a plate system. I don't like 200 shots direct port, because unless you're okay with us shutting off the knock sensors. Now, the moment you shut off the knock sensors, your protection goes away, like literally goes away. So that's all they're there for. They're there to protect from detonation. So if a nitrous kit is hitting really hard and causing the knock sensors to go very active, then we're kind of probably tell you, dude, you either lower the shot, ramp it in later, like at 4,000 RPMs, or we shut off the knock sensor. And with all that comes the, all of the shit you got to sign over the waiver and be like, if my shit blows up, it ain't on me because you decided to run a 200 shot. Devin771B, says, buy 1112 GT500 or mod a 1314 GT 700 rear wheel horsepower daily. Well, the GT500 is going to be more reliable at that power level than any 13 or 14 GT. 13, 14 GTs, you can get it, you can make it make whatever. Well, is it going to hold up to that abuse or not? Who knows? And for how long? A 700 rear wheel horsepower GT500? He's bored. I'm like, I'm bored as fuck. This is nothing. You can shove 800 down my ass and it'll be okay. So I think if you're going to do it out of those two cars, the GT500 is a more desirable car to build to hold that power longer. Trust me. The Psychotic One says, the RPM's hanging on the S550s. I hate it. Is there any way to tune it out on the RPMs drop right when I let off the throttle, or will it drive like crap and I'm big jackass and just need to deal with it? There is a way of turning it off. So whoever's tuning you, say, hey man, can you turn off my shift assist? And then it'll drop really quick in between shifts and you're going to have to relearn how to drive that car. Alexander Cadell, a longtime fan and supporter. The dude asks me 3 or 4 questions a show, so I'm always going to hit him up or see what the deal is. He asks, what are the signs of a slipping clutch when I go watt? Some. Not all my shifts sound like it has a converter locking up then through a transmission. So you'll see RPM flare. We can actually see clutch slip in a log. So let's say, for instance, if you're grafting a log and you see a graph in front of you, well, output shaft speed should go up with RPM, right? But if the RPM goes up, but the output shaft speed stays, or actually, stays kind of low, meaning your tires are not spinning, or your drive shaft's not spinning faster than RPM is flaring, you more than likely have clutch slip. So it's going to be OSS versus mile an hour. And if OSS spikes, it's tire spin. If RPM spikes, it's more than likely clutch slip, sir. Jay Lake says, Alex, please be safe, man. Are you ejaculating? Oh, the Psychotic One says, you tuned me. Hey, the Psychotic One, hit me up and say, Alex, turn off shift assist, and I'll send you a tune. turn off shift assist, and you're going to go, it drives like shit. I'm going to revert to the other tune. Jamie Cardell says, what's up, bitcho? What's up, bitcho? What's up, bitcho? Michael says, can you tune my Mopar powered 86 GT? I will pay. Michael, we don't tune Mopar. We are so busy with Mustang, F-150, EcoBoost. Look, we cannot even think of taking on a new platform. It's very tough to keep up with one platform. I could not imagine adding a complete new platform on the vehicle. But can you do it yourself? Because I'll pay you whatever. And I'm like, nah. And they get mad. And I'm like, look, I'm not doing it because I don't like you and I don't want to tune you. I work for Lund Racing. I support what they support. And if they support a Dodge application and you pay, we'll get you tuned. But right now we're so busy with Mustang that I don't think we're going to take on a new platform anytime. Talib S550 says, questions about a converter. Circle D, 2C, Paxton S550, 3.6 pulley, 93. Being a bit jerky when going slow and locking up when I slow down, it clunks. Well, you got 3 or 5 discs in that thing right now. I'm not sure which version you have, but the clutches inside the converter might make a bit of a slapping sound. It's not going to be super smooth. It's not going to be like stock. It might slap around a little bit. Now, are there ways of us potentially making it not as clunky? I can't guarantee that. It's not a tune issue. When you install a converter, you have to understand how a converter drives. If you understand and get how a looser, higher stall converter works, then you're gonna come to expect different driving habits than as if it was stock. Do not ever compare anything aftermarket to stock. It's not going to be as smooth, it's not going to engage properly, and it's going to be noisier. That's kind of it, but it's stronger than stock. Demonic 50 says, say you love me. Come on, I paid you. I love you, Demonic 50. I love your money. Give me your money. I'm like Cardi B. Give me your money. Wasn't she raping dudes for the money, though? Remember Cardi B, I think, announced that she was like straight drugging dudes, and then she'd bang them, and then maybe bang them, and then take their money? Man, that's a bad bitch right there. Tyler Hornsby says, I got another one for you. I got an 18 manual with the 85, also free-flowing exhaust. I love you guys when you say free-flowing exhaust. Got a PMAS cold air and a BAP, which is boost up pump. On a 100 shot through Nitrous outlet on a window max controller, coming in at 3,500 to 6,500. How long till my stuff gives up? Dude, on a 100 shot, I think you're good for a long fucking time. Like, you don't got to worry about shit. As long as the plugs are gapped properly, you're running good fuel, you have plenty of fuel, and you're bringing it in at that high of an RPM at wide open throttle, dude, you're fine for a 100 shot. I was thinking if the red car ever made it 10s NA, which I think I could do it. It's just time and money, really. I'm going to throw a 100 shot on it. Fuck it. And if it survives on that, like if it goes 9s on a 100 or 150 shot, then I'll throw a turbo on it and we'll try to blow it up. You know, I'd love to throw a turbo on that car after I run 10s NA and maybe after a 100 shot, and then send it off into heaven, send the motor off into Coyote heaven by putting a Hellion twin turbo, turn up the wick to 1,000, destroy the front planet on the 6R80 and show you the carnage. Cletus shit. But I'll only do that if I have enough money to build it up again, because I don't want another car just sitting. All of my cars right now run and drive, except the Maverick. That's the only one that doesn't run and drive. It doesn't have a motor in it. Devin 7717B says, GT500, GT again. Was thinking a $15,000 difference in price would make up for initial difference in cost. So go with the 500 instead of the built motor GT? Yep. Because if you spend an extra $15,000 for that GT500, you'll get it back if you ever sell it. Because it's a Shelby. Just some Shelby nut riders that wear Shelby socks, Shelby hat. They think Carroll Shelby was a fucking god. They got Shelby suitcases, Shelby fucking tennis balls, Shelby golf balls. So you'll get your money back then with a GT. Trust me. Psychopaths out there. Vince Zampella, Boostworks are Armageddon, not Hellion. I wouldn't get a Boostworks kit personally. I would do a Hellion or an Armageddon. That's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Oh, why not? Because I said so. G Money asks, Alex, does an 18 Mustang require a BAP for a 100 shot on E85? I would like to have one in there. I want to make sure you have plenty of headroom, so let's just throw a BAP in there. And maybe an LU47 injector, just in case. Just in case. Please, let's not let's not get off and say we need it, but it's better to have it and not need it and not have it, like a condom. What's a condom? Talib S550 says, thanks for the info. I got clutches and intermediate. Switched from another tuner and whatever, and he was told the tune looks great. I appreciate that, Talib. I really don't want to mention any other tuners in a negative light. I appreciate that you went with us, but I will refrain from mentioning anyone negatively because I just think it's a bad look. But I appreciate the business, man. I appreciate you came over to Lund. I appreciate you're a fan. That's the biggest thing I hang my hat on, that, you know, at the end of the day, people trust my opinion. And if I happen to be affiliated with Lund and they think, hey, Lund, Alex, it all works, I'm happy I'm doing my job. Full Auto GT. I'm sorry, real quick. Bobby Smith says BL Fab. So that's a joint effort between Cy Lee and I'm so sorry, Matt Brunette, who's involved with, oh gosh, I'm so sorry, the company name is eluding me, but BL Fabrications is a joint effort between Matt Brunette and Cy Lee, and they're making turbo kits for S550. I think it's a single turbo kit. Looks to be pretty nice. G-Unit, Silk City. Laughing my ass off at the Shelby suitcase. He was a god. I have YDBT undies. You're my god. Dude, if I can find YDBT undies and my face is, you know, my face is on the crotch, that'd be fucking hilarious. But, you know, I'm just opening up myself for ridicule with like, oh, I got my dick in, you know, YOLO's mouth. Ugh. Shelby condoms. Could you imagine Shelby condoms? Okay, so Christopher Kazil says, I'll ask you guys again this week. Are any of the consequences to running a department of boost lower manifold, or is it better unit than OEM and the big name aftermarket guys? I don't think there's any benefit to running a department of boost kit unless it's proven that the intercooler is better. But I haven't seen any tests or data, and I'm not really going to go out there and remove a manifold from like a Roush or a VMP equipped car and test manifolds. Fuck all that. Let them do that. Sorry for asking again, but what is your opinion on the superchargers from the dealership? Like LFP. See, LFP doesn't... Oh, Lebanon Ford and Performance. Those are fine because what they use is usually canned tunes. What does that mean? If you get a supercharged Mustang from LFP, they're probably using the Roush tune and the Whipple tune stock, you know, done. I know they offer other packages, but you're basically getting a Roush-equipped GT and a Whipple-equipped GT and Whipple's tune and Roush's tune. I think they're fine. I think it's a very cheap way of getting into a supercharged Mustang. You're going to want to tune immediately afterwards because those tunes are on the soft side, except Whipple's tune seems to be pretty good out of the box in terms of drivability. The Roush tune, it's soft. It makes good power on the dyno. It's better than stock, but not that much better than stock versus a tuned. Let's say you get a Roush tuned 10-speed Roush equipped car, and you go up against an E85 10-speed long tube cold air car. It's probably a close race. Alexander Cadell says, is it possible to take a 19 NT82 and swap it into my 15 with the harness from a 19 to get the downshift rev match or save? Dude, no. How is there's no downshift rev match logic in pre-19 cars or bullets. So I think it's all in the programming, honestly, because if you flash a 19 tune onto an 18, it bricks it and vice versa. And how would we implement downshift rev matching if it's not populated in a previous vehicle like 18 and under? I don't think there's downshift rev match logic. Now, can you make it work? Can someone get out the real fancy and make it work? Potentially, but it is not up to me to make that happen. There's a thing called I think an auto blip, and it does a similar thing where when you press the brake and clutch in, it blips it up instead of like the harness and all this, just by auto blip and put it in. It's probably $300 as opposed to going through that whole trans bullshit. Dre Day says, money for Hellion turbo kit and taking the 19 to the track for stock quarter mile times when weather permits. Love the show. Got my t-shirt last week. Thank you, Dre Day, for being a supporter. I don't think the white GT is ever going to go to the quarter mile track stock. It's just not going to happen. So I don't think it's probably an 11.9 to 12.0 car, which has been proven over and over and over. It is not in my best interest to make a fast, naturally aspirated manual car work. Now, with a supercharger, yeah, I'll take it to the track and see if I can bust off a 10 in it. I think that'll be cool. And it doesn't have to go deep into the 10s, but if it goes like a 10.9 or a 10.8 at like 131 or 132, I'm happy, because that car is going to be more of a daily / road race once in a while car than a dedicated stick shift drag car. Now, if I had the money, I'd buy a 19 base with 373s or 410s and get after an NA deal, but no one cares. No one really cares about a naturally aspirated S550 running a number. They just don't. I'm sorry. I wish they did, but they just don't. Charles Skyline says, I have an '08 Crown Vic Interceptor 4.6 2-valve. What to do? What you do is you drive to your local junkyard and get about $300 for it and call it a day. Because I am not a fan of the Panther platform at all. I love you. I know a lot of people love those cars. They love Crown Vics. Australians come over here and go, whoa, Crown Vic, look at that. And I'm like, it's a taxi. It's a cop car. No one cares. But I'm not a fan of the Panther platform in any way, shape, or form. I think it sucks and it's stupid. But that's me. Some people are in love with that platform. Some people think it's great. If you want to build it, have at it. If you want to put a Coyote in it, have at it. But I recommend you just get rid of it. Understandable, went with Dakota. Excellent, Talib. I appreciate you understanding why I can't talk badly about them. Divyesh Patel says, hey, Alex, thanks for all the education you provide us. Have you seen any third-gen cam setups yet? Not yet. We got an experimental set not too long ago. Put it in. It didn't make a whole bunch of power. So we're working. That's the thing. We work with the manufacturers of these parts before anything gets released to see if it makes power or not. The moment something gets released, they put out power numbers that are not vetted. Now it is up to us to make that power, and we're like, dude, it's not there. Then the blame game happens. The cam manufacturer starts blaming us. We start blaming the cams. It becomes a shit show. So this go around, we're working with people that make cams and installing it on cars and see what kind of power gains there are and giving feedback to them. That's the best way to do it. And every manufacturer should take note of that. If you're going to release a part for the Ford Mustang, by far, Lund Racing is by far the highest volume tuning company there is. So it's in your best interest to hit us up and say, what do you think about this? And based on our insane amount of data, we can say, that might work, that might not work. Don't do it this way, do it this way. But ego gets the best of some people, and they go, I'm not gonna fucking sell it. Fucking sell it. You don't know how to fucking tune it. I'm gonna recommend this guy to tune it. They don't know how to tune shit. And then the vast majority want to get tuned by us. We say that part sucks, and then sales go down. So be smart. Get with us, and we'll do our best to recommend stuff to you. We're not out there to fuck with people. We're out there to tune everybody. And if a part doesn't work, based on our experience, we can tell it doesn't work. We're just going to tell you it doesn't work and help you make it work. Troy Darius Rogers says, hey, Alex, I'm planning a Gen 2 Coyote swap my 2010 Mustang GT. Is it better to keep the power steering pump, or is there a way to upgrade to E-Pass? Keep the power steering pump. Trust me, Power by the Hour literally is making that swap happen right now. And they're going to make it happen in an easy way where you can use your existing AC, your existing power steering pump. You don't have to move shit. So hang tight, Troy Darius Rogers. Some good shit, good info is coming real soon for that. So hang tight. Trust me, you're not gonna need to upgrade. Vince Zampella says, now I need to know your thoughts on BoostWorks Armageddon versus Hellion. I like turbos outside the engine bay. I can only tell what I've tuned. Armageddon makes a shitload of power. Every single time I get an Armageddon kit in front of my queue, I go, holy shit, we're ready to make, triple pumps, 1300s, built trans, built motor. All right, we're ready to make 1100, baby. Let's party. And it makes it real easy. Hellion also makes good power depending on the kit layout. I have not tuned a BoostWorks kit yet. Thoughts on wastegate setup on a centrifugal blower. So, okay, wastegate setups are basically a way of getting torque back. So if you wastegate, okay, let's say for instance you're pulleyed for 20 psi. So that sucker is going to see a shitload of jam right up until you're wasting off the rest of the boost. So if you pulley for 10, but all you want the engine to see, I'm sorry, if you pulley for 20 and all you want the engine is to see 10, you can get rid of the other shit via a wastegate setup, and that is what we call the torque booster setup, because centrifugals are lazy down low. So a torque booster setup allows you to get that out of the hole feeling back by pulleying for an insane amount, but getting rid of the rest of it, so that you only see what you want to see, 10 psi, 15 psi, depending on the spring or whatever. So, and the cool thing is about that is if you want to just have that and set it up like on a boost controller, so you can say, I want to be at 10 psi or 20 psi because I'm pulley for 20, and ramp it in with like an AMS 2000, a boost leash, or anything like that. You have that option also. Very cool. Alex getting paid tonight. Oh, I don't know. I don't keep track. I got blamed, or I got accused by another YouTuber, and I heard this from another guy, which, look, if YouTubers are out there talking shit about me, good. That means they're watching. But don't be an instigator, okay? Don't go out there saying, hey, Alex, did you hear what this guy says? Because what's going to happen is I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to pop off. I'm going to get pissed off, and I'm going to just potentially cause issues because I can't hold myself. I can't not talk shit when someone talks shit on me. So somebody was saying that I don't get to all the questions. I miss questions on purpose. Look, man, I have a lot of people hitting me up, and I do my best, and I apologize profusely when I miss a question. It hurts me to the core when I miss a question. So I make sure that I get back to people as soon as possible. And if you paid, I'm definitely going to pay attention to you. Ruslan says, is it possible to make my 2013 GT a base 3,500 pound car or less with me in it? Thank you for your knowledge, primo. So he wants to make his S197 3,500 pounds or less. I think it's possible, but man, it's a very, very, very tough thing to do, to lose weight on S197s and S550s. It's very tough. You have to gut the car. You have to take shit out that you probably didn't think you'd have to take out. Airbags, bunch of stuff in the front, radiator supports. Luckily, BPS, Billet Pro Shops, thank you. That's who Matt Brunette works for. So BPS and Siley are teaming up to come out with a turbo kit for S550 Mustangs. But Ruslan, I think it's possible with you in it. So that means the car, if you weigh 200 pounds, the car has to be 3,300. I think it's possible. Lightweight K-member, lightweight doors, lightweight trunk, lightweight dick, lightweight everything. Lose some, cut off your leg, whatever you have to do. I think it's possible. Shabs says, Alex, I have a tuned 18 Mustang, remapped factory computer. I now would like an E85 tune with an N-gauge. I was wondering if you need the stock tune to send to you, or will the new tune stored in my car's computer do? So what will happen is we will send you an N-gauge with a tune. It'll draw the existing tune out and save it as the stock tune. That's how the N-gauge works. It doesn't care what's in it. Whatever is in it will be stored as the stock tune. So if you have a tune from another company, then it's going to draw that and store it in the stock file. But if you ever want to return to actual stock, it's probably in your best interest to have the stock tune in the vehicle before the N-gauge draws it out, so that you can, if you ever got to take it back to service or sell it or whatever, you actually have a actual stock tune back in the vehicle. That's my answer. Tony Calabrese says, 19 F-150 Supercharge. Wait, Super Crew? And short bed, Super Crew short bed. What's your opinion on using the Roush Supercharger kit and keeping a warranty, or go for the Whipple and lose the warranty? Go for the Whipple and lose the warranty, because the Roush kit is a non-starter. That's the only kit I don't recommend. I'm sorry, Roush. I know you guys. I love Roush TVSs, but man, they've screwed the pooch on that front feed 2650, and to me, it is a non-starter. Has an insanely inefficient intercooler setup. So this is probably the only time I'm ever going to recommend a Whipple over any TVS if you're comparing an F-150 Whipple versus that particular Roush unit. So Whipple, lose the warranty. Go fast. You tuned my daily 17 GT to 602 real horsepower. It's dope. Thank you. No problem. 602 real horsepower through a 6R80, so it's probably a pump gas car on an 11, 12 PSI. That's pretty badass, and it's fun, and it's a 10-second car all day, I bet. Vince Zampella says, now I need to know your thoughts on... Okay, I already said that. Worth tuning a bone stock 13 GT, pros to doing it. So we raise the rev limiter. We allow more spark if you're running good 93 fuel. The throttle mapping is nicer. It just feels more crisp, and we get rid of all the nannies that the stock tune has on those cars, especially if it's automatic. You have a lot more to gain through a tuned automatic than with a manual. It's mostly timing and cam phasing, and you have favorable cam phasing too. So Fragavelli, I think it's worth to tune any vehicle, even if stock. My 19 GT woke right up once I put a tune in it. I was like, holy shit, this thing's pretty good. Alexander Cadell again says, I got a 350 throttle body to a 15 to 17 stock intake adapter. Can I send it to you for the throttle body video and send it back when done? I can email you after. A 15 to 17 stock. I already have a 350 throttle body, Cadell. I need a stock throttle body to 350 manifold adapter so I can use a stock throttle body. I already have a GT350 throttle body. I need a stock throttle body to 350 manifold adapter to make that video. Derek Triplet II says, I have a 14 GT Manuel, 440 rear wheel horse, Cobra Jet, JLT, Cook's long tube. Should I boost it or sell it and buy it an 18 and boost it? Boost it, bro. Put a Paxton in it. Keep it at about 9 to 10 PSI. Make 650 wheel, 660, 670 wheel, and party and not owe much. Now, 18 and boost it. Depends how deep your pockets are. But it's really hard to beat an 18 boosted car. An 18 Vortec car or an 18 Vortec or an 18 Whipple car is a force to be reckoned with. Hey, Alex, I'm picking up a Gen 1 Coyote from an F-150 for my F-100. What would you recommend for 400, 425 wheel horsepower? I would get Mustang cams, Gen 1 Mustang cams, Gen 1 Mustang intake, or a 2018 intake manifold. So a 2018 intake manifold, Gen 1 Mustang cams, and a nice cold air like a 110 millimeter or a PMS 120. I think you're there with a tune as long as the 93 is nice and sweet. Stockish S550 says, why aren't there many fuel kits on the market? Why aren't there many fuel kits on the market? So VMP has a fuel kit. Lethal has a fuel kit. Lethal sells a Division X fuel kit. VMP sells a plug-and-play return style dual pump setup. Silese sells a fuel kit, and 4 Innovation sells a fuel kit. That's 4 off the top of my head. There's a ton. So I wanted to talk real quick about the Mustang Week, guys. I'm really sorry that Mustang Week is no good up there. Now Mustang Week, it was interesting. When I went to Mustang Week the last time, it was the one before they changed the schedule. So Mustang Week, I didn't know what it was until I went there, and it kind of confirmed my suspicions that Mustang Week is more of a, gathering. Now, I'm not going to dog it because it's just not the market that I'm interested in. I'm interested in the performance and racing industry market, and I think Mustang Week market is, look at my car, it looks cool, and you gather with friends around the country to share your love of Mustangs. Okay, whatever. To me, it's just not my thing. So a lot of people are going there in spite of the evacuation announcements that the governor made. Dude, what are you doing? I know you love Mustangs, and I know you probably took the week off. But guys, don't go to Myrtle Beach and muddy it up when there's National Guard setting up, when there's people putting generators up, sandbags being filled, and you're trying to, I get it. You want to feel like you didn't waste a week, but if efforts are being made to make sure that area does not get completely fucked by, this crazy hurricane that seems to just have parked its ass outside. Is it raining outside? Yeah, it's finally raining outside a little bit. I actually heard a little bit of rain through here. Guys, get out of there. If there's no mandatory evacuations here because I'm like slightly north. So if this is the eye of the hurricane, there we go. And I'm like West Palm, and it's gonna go I'm West Palm, so it's kind of doing one of these things. It can totally. If it decides to go in a little bit, it'll fuck me up. Sure, but they're saying if you're in low-lying areas and close to the water, get the fuck out of here. But if you know about this area and why people aren't leaving, you got to understand every building in this area is made of cement, what do you call it? CBS, cement block, whatever. It's very robust. A lot of the power lines are underground, so I feel pretty safe here. The last time I left, the last hurricane I left in was, I think, Irma 2 years ago, and I went north to St. Augustine to try to avoid it, and that motherfucker went around me and up to that motherfucker, and we lost power up there. It was a bad time. It was not fun. A bunch of other shit was happening to make it a worse time. But that whole week sucked. It's like burned in my brain how bad that week went for many reasons, not just a hurricane. Fragavelli says, has anyone figured out the typewriter tick on the 18? So there's a couple of theories. Tensioners, right? People are blaming the hydraulic cam chain tensioner. People are also blaming, some are actually piston to wall, slapping, but also cam chain tensioners seems to be a potential issue also. Joe Martin asks, does Lund offer newsletter or something? Yeah. Go to lundracing.com, dude. Lundracing.com. I'm very interested in the 3-valve Coyote swap. I feel bad I keep bothering you about it. Thanks. See, Lund Racing has nothing to do with that swap. You got to understand, Joe Martin. Lund Racing has nothing to do with that swap. All they're going to be is tuning, But Power by the Hour are the ones you want to ask about that swap. Power by the Hour has a newsletter. We're literally working on video as we speak. Like I have video ready to go, but I need to see a final product so I can give you a beginning, a middle, and an end to that video with detailed information. Just hang tight, Joe. Hang tight. There is no rush for this. There's no rush. How do you feel about dual Beachworks 400 and a 350 hat with a dash 8 feet and a 6 return? Junior is tuning with me in your old Gen 3 and L&M intake cams with 15 PSI. That's badass because a single 400 supports a lot. So dual 400s and a 350 hat and a dash 8 feed, that's going to be enough to support probably 800-900, maybe 1,000 wheel. So I think that's a good setup as long as the hat doesn't cavitate and the little bucket doesn't drain. The problem is with a 350 hat, it's not open, right? With an open fuel system setup, your hat is your tank. So you have this much to draw from and you have 2 pumps in this much. With 2 Beachworks 400 in a small hat, you want to make sure that you're not draining that hat dry or sucking it in and cavitating. So that's going to be the only caveat, whether you can get enough fuel in there so that the dual Beachworks 400 don't starve of fuel in that small hat. But that's yet to be seen, so we'll see. Steven Brazell, would you rather deal with hurricanes or salt your driveway? Hurricanes. So I hear a lot of people are like, wow, I can't believe that. I can't believe that, you would move to Florida. Guys, I've been here 4 years and I've experienced half of a hurricane. Whereas in Massachusetts, you will experience 5 snowstorms all year, salt your driveway, chip away at it. Then you get slush, then it freezes over, it becomes brown ice, then you get another snowstorm on top of that. So now you have slushy brown ice under powdery snow. Then the plows plow you in the morning, you got to shovel out. Then they plow you in the afternoon, and you got to shovel in. Fuck that. I'll deal with a 3-day hurricane and some downed power lines and palm tree leaves because the next day it's going to be 85 degrees. Cedric Weich says, wow, I wanted to send you money with the first question. Haha. Well, here you go. No problem, brother. Excellent. So let me get some of the non-paid stuff and talk a little shit, then end it quick because, this was an unannounced deal and I wanted to make sure that you guys got something this week. I know a lot of you didn't get to Mustang week, so you're like, fuck it. At least I'll listen to Alex for a little bit, because a lot of people listen to this like a podcast. And I've heard people say, Alex, you should talk about politics and other things. Guys, feel free to ask me questions about politics, not necessarily just car shit. I'll talk shit about anything. It's called talking shit. So I just talked shit about, not talk shit, but I talked about the American Muscle car that was given away in the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I talked about Kevin Hart crashing a car too. I talked about Mustang Week being canceled. So, I can talk about anything really. Root Beer says, A cup with a rear end or D cup with mud flaps. So I'd rather an A cup with a rear end. Because a D cup, have you ever seen a woman that has massive knockers but has a flat ass? There's something wrong. There's something wrong. It just doesn't look proportioned. But with an athletic woman that has not much of a chest, A cup, but she has that booty. And I'm not saying a big, nasty Cardi B ass. I'm saying a nice, sporty, tight little butt. You're like, hell yeah, I'd rather get that. Now, some guys are just boob guys and they cannot, hold themselves back. And I get it. When I got single from my first relationship, I've been in a 10-year relationship and then a close to 5-year relationship. So in the middle, I met a girl, Tammy. She lives in Atlanta. Dude, it changed. I got it. I understood it. I went, yeah, I understand what guys are boob guys. I get it. So yeah, trying to keep it vague. Still laughing about Mustang Week. I'm not laughing about Mustang Week, but I'm kind of laughing about Mustang Week. Mustang Week's not my thing. But I know guys go there and they wait all year for it, which blows my mind. But I get it. It's somewhere you want to go. But man, the salty people are like, what am I going to do? Oh, I'm like, anything. I mean, really? Mustang Week was like the thing you waited for all year long was Mustang Week? What the fuck? I mean, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Any cons on running 85 besides lower mile per gallon? No, just a bunch of fun. Cheaper per gallon. Yeah, you're going to get less miles per gallon because it's not dense. But at the end of the day, you know, it's cheap power. It's cheap 105 octane. So why not get it? What part of Massachusetts I from? Well, I used to be from Western Massachusetts. So Chicopee, Springfield, South Hadley, Granby, Holyoke. I was raised in Holyoke, Massachusetts. I went to Holyoke High School. And then when I got old enough, I bought a house in Indian Orchard, Massachusetts. Then I bought a second home in Indian Orchard, Massachusetts, just further down, which is a suburb of Springfield. And then I got the fuck out of there and moved to Houston. Scott Hill, why do you dislike Ken Bell Superchargers so much? I don't dislike Ken Bell Superchargers at all. I just think there's better Superchargers out there. Nothing against Ken Bell. A Ken Bell 4.2 and a 3.6 are badass. They're badass. A 3.2 and a 2.8, I think a 2300 or a 2650 TVS or any Whipple has those Superchargers covered. So if you're going to say to me, Alex, TVS, like a 2300, like a Roush 2300, or a Kenny Bell 2.8 or a 3.2. I'd say the TVS. Now, if you were to say, Alex, a 3.6 or a 4.2, if I want to make 1100 wheel on my GT500, okay, they'll make power. They're going to make power. But, with the advent of the Gen 3 and the Gen 3R, not only do you get instant power with the TVS, but you also get high horsepower capability also. The horsepower race is strong, so there's nothing wrong with competition. Kenny Bell, I think, makes very good big 3.6 and 4.2s. I think anything under that, the TVS and the Whipple has that area covered. Now, what's the majority of the market? The small blower market. Paxton's, 2300 Roushes, 2300 VMPs, 2650 Edelbrocks, 2.9 and 3.0 Whipples are king in this small supercharger market. So the Kenny Bell 3.2 and the 2.8, the Kenny Bell 3.2 and 2.8 are less desirable than anything else in the market, in my most humble of opinions. What parts do you recommend on a 2018 naturally aspirated 10R80 Mustang? By the way, badass channel. Thank you, Gilbert. Seems to be like the go-to combination is cold air. I know, but it's getting colder out there, so that's good. A cold air intake, long tube headers, E85 tune, if you want to port your intake manifold, and then weight reduction. And that alone should get you close to the 10s, honestly, in cold weather. Jonathan Hernandez says, hey, Alex, I got a triple 465 pump Division X fuel system on my Paxton 5.0 with a 3.3 pulley. Should I run a hop switch on the second pump and just not run power to the third pump and not worry about it? No. Run 2 pumps constant. The only reason I say to run 2 pumps constant, not a 1 and then 1 and a hop switch. What's a hop switch for those that you don't know? A lot of people run 1 pump, like a single 465, and then at about 3 to 5 PSI, the hop switch allows the second pump to kick on. Well, the problem is, depending on where the hop switch is mounted, and it's rattly, right? Let's say it's rattly, it's hard mounted somewhere, and it's on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, and then that second pump is on, off, on, off, on, off, you'll see the fuel trim start to freaking wig out. So I tell people, if you're on E85 and you're on a 3.3 pulley, or 14, 15 PSI, run 2 pumps constant and the third on a Hobbs switch if you desire. But I don't think you need 3 pumps on a 3.3 pulley car with those 2 pumps. I think 2 pumps and 3.3 pulley, 2 pumps constant on E85 is more than enough, and it will not burn up your fuel system or anything like that. So run 2 pumps constant, and if you're going to run a third off a Hobbs switch. Cedric White says 373s or 410s on a 95 Cobra. Great content, by the way. I like 410s. On pushrod cars, I like 410s. They need that gear to get going for sure. Billy Guns give me money. Didn't say it. Didn't ask anything. PR Chico says, I live in Texas every damn day, so I don't know what he's saying. A Wheeler says, Magnuson versus Edelbrock versus Whipple for 18s. In my opinion, the TVS is the most desirable supercharger setup for me. Magnuson is going to come out with a ported, badass, out-of-the-box, I think, version of a supercharger. Edelbrock is, I think, still holding the record for fastest, quickest 18 auto with an 869. I could be wrong. It could have gotten broken by then. But at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with either of them. It's like an arms race right now. And Magnuson stepped in there, which makes sense. Edelbrock is not just a contender anymore. They're right there. So if you're the fact that it's even a toss-up, like the fact that Edelbrock is being mentioned in the same name as Whipple and Magnuson is a testament to how good the Edelbrock supercharger is. G-Unit Silk City says, even CJ, what do you say? Even CJ cams and VMP Twin 69 on E85? That's the goal? I guess I didn't get the first part of the question. Let me see if I can scroll up real quick. G-Unit Silk City. Stock pump, still stock intake for CJ soon. Yeah, I would get a booster pump. I think that's what we're talking about. Tyler Hornsby says, do you think I can run 10s with everything listed earlier along with a 409 gear on a Mickey Thompson ET Street tire? It'll be tough, but I think so. You just have to have some weight reduction, brother. Weight reduction. Because you've seen a lot of YouTubers out there talk a lot of shit, say they're running a number, and then they only run it when it's gutted. Understand, these cars are heavy, so you're going to have to remove some weight to run that number. That's what the fast guys do. Rami Zaidan in Puerto Rico went 11-0, then he went 10-9 when he removed some weight, but not a lot of weight, but enough to make it go. Okay, and he was on C85, a 409 gear, and I didn't really have to do much to the calibration. It's just our base file with E85 tuning, more timing, and it liked it. The Chech is here, which is Brandon DeRita, put in a parachute on his car that hasn't gone 8s yet. Pretty badass. Okay, G-Unit Silk City says, no, that's soon. Still building. Badass. Mike Vasquez says, thoughts on a ProCharger Stage 2 intercooler versus a Vortec intercooler? Horsepower numbers on both? I don't know. Honestly, I've seen ProChargers make 800, 900 on their Stage 2 pretty well. Vortex also making 800, 900 pretty well. I've never seen a back-to-back comparison because it'd have to be on the same vehicle and everything would have to line up. So it's probably not that ideal because the setups are a little different. But I think they're both very good. I don't think it's that big of a deal to compare them against each other because they're two different kits, two different superchargers. They mount differently. It's all fucked up. You said I can't put it on until I went 150. Have you gone 150 yet? Oh, wait, that was the day you oiled down the track. Right. Got it. Mod Motor Ray says, hey, Alex, quick question on a Gen 1 and 2 heads. I know Gen 2s flow better than Gen 1, but is that the same when each gets a full race port job? Coyote swapping my 80H notch with a turbo. I would always start with Gen 2 castings. Okay? I would always start with Gen 2 castings. I just think, if I'm not mistaken, now I don't want to talk out of my ass, I think the valves are physically bigger. I could be wrong, but I'm not 100%, but I think the valves are slightly bigger. Before someone yells at me, but I think if I was going to port any of them, I'd port Gen 2 heads. There's not a lot of people out there porting Gen 1 heads, probably for a reason. So I would get Gen 2 heads if I were you and you're going to build a max effort setup. Billy Gunn says 17 GT, 18 Manny, use an 18 intake tube. Need 18 MAF or can I use a 17 MAF? Use the MAF that belongs to the vehicle, not the MAF that belongs to the car, to the cold air. So 11 to 14, use an 11 to 14 MAF. 15 to 17, use a 15 to 17 MAF. When I mean a MAF, I mean the sensor itself, not the cold air. And for an 18, you need an 18 and up MAF. 18, 19. Okay, so use the MAF that goes to the vehicle, not the cold air. Oh my God, you guys are going crazy with the questions. Omar Flores, I think he's just putting up. He's putting up words. Alex, Hurricane wins at our back worth couple tenths or a full second? Depends on the category, right? Category 1, probably not much. But Category 5, 180 mile an hour winds, then Brandon will need a parachute. Because the On3 twin turbo kit is worth negative 30 mile an hour. I love fucking with Brandon. 350R brakes on a GT, no performance pack. I don't want to strip anymore. Just bad a street car. 2.9 Whipple, so I feel like I'd be justified. Yeah, dude, if you can swing 350R brakes on a GT, they're badass. I'd love to get myself I'd love to find a set of GT350R brakes and put it on the fucking Fairmont. Fuck yeah. So I never have to use the parachute. I'll just have it, but never use it and just slam on the brakes at the end of the track. That would be sick. That'd be so sick. 2 is raw, or I is raw, says 11 GT500 with a stock blower and a 2.4 pulley. What do you recommend before upgrading the blower? Also, map sensor throws off random pulls. Should I be concerned? Map sensor throws after random pulls. Should I be concerned? It's probably overboosting the supercharger, or not. I think it probably, you get supercharger codes, I think. So it's probably the SIP sensor that's having an issue. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. But I think you can get a lower, like a 10% lower, and if you already have headers and E85, you know, I think you're at that point. You're basically, you can do everything you need to do, but at the end of the day, nothing's going to give you a bigger kick in the butt than a TVS. So I wouldn't go crazy if you don't have headers yet. I'd throw a TVS on there before throwing headers and all the other bullshit on it, because it's like 100 horsepower gain. Alex, since Calimer doesn't do the 1819, what do you do if your MT82 gave up the ghost? Not wishing any bad luck. I'm curious if you would swap. I had the opportunity to swap a stage 3 Calimer trans into my 18. But once I got into the 19 and I had downshift rev matching, I did not want to put that trans in because I loved the downshift rev matching. If you drive a manual 18 around, then a manual 19 around with the downshift rev matching, you will never want to drive that 18 again. Trust me, the downshift rev matching is addicting and just cool. So I don't think Ben Calimer, I don't know if it's the sensor on the clutch, but I think there's a sensor on the shifter and the clutch. So I don't know if a Ben Calimer transmission would have the ability to downshift rev match on a 19 if you equipped it with the proper sensors. So I don't know that. And that's kind of a test that, again, how do I test that? Do I then tear apart my car, buy a $3,000 trans and put it all in and buy a Mantic clutch and this and that? So what? That's a $5,000 test? Come on. I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope it don't explode. And if it does, something happen, I'll just get another transmission, another MT82 from a, 18, from a 19, if it's much different. Tino Reyes says, O2 New Edge Coyote swap with a 470. Have you tuned one with the Quick Shift 4 harness? How well did it work? I think the tuning's on your end with the Quick Shift 4, right? So I have not tuned one in person, but I know that one of the guys down in Power by the Hour has a 4R70 with a Quick 4, and it's a pain in the butt to get right. But once you get it right, it's not a problem. So Jake at Power by the Hour has had experience with it. He likes it, and that's on a 1,000 horsepower small block Ford setup, so it should be okay. Eric Sizemore says, for boosted 18s or 315s that only have access to 8th mile tracks, would you run a 15-inch wheel with smaller tire or shorter gear be better? Shorter gear, like a 390 or a 373, if you're an 8th mile guy, or even 409 if it's a 10-speed. So, yeah, it all depends on how quick you want to go in the 8th, and even if you take it in the quarter, I think the 410s would do well. The Steeda car seems to do better on 315s because it's a CJ equipped car, and it stays, once it gets up in the high RPM range and it stays there and it carries the mile an hour, seems to be favorable. So the 315s, as long as you get out of the hole and get a converter in it, seems to be the more favorable gear for 10R80 equipped Mustangs. Wakey says, hey Alex, you tuned my On3 setup and it ran great. Wanted to say thanks for that. Junior's tuning my 5.2 setup. Question, with 7-pound wastegate springs, how many PSI can you boost control them to? I think the rule of thumb is double, right? Isn't that the rule of thumb that if you have a 7-pound spring, you can get up to 14 PSI? And if you have a 11-pound spring, you go up to 22. I think that's the rule of thumb. But again, with turbos, I am a novice. But I think if you have 7-pound springs, you can go up to 14 PSI. 10-pound springs, up to 20 PSI. Double what the springs are. Tom Kroninik gave me $5 for no reason. So I'm going to get out of here. I've been on for how long? An hour and 10 minutes. Fuck that. I'm going to say an hour and a half. Fuck that. I seem to give you guys an hour and a half. So let's stick to the hour and a half. So I have about 19 more minutes to talk a little more shit with you guys and go from there. Alex, your clock ain't moving. Yeah, it is. Look at it closely. Look at it closely. Let me see. I can't. Yeah, can I zoom in? Shit, I don't wanna fuck with this camera if I can't zoom in. Let me see. Let me see if I can zoom in. I'm gonna try that. Fuck it. Shit. If we go off air, I'm sorry. But let me see if I can. It says video capture device settings. So let me click on that settings. Can I zoom? Configure video. Da 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 da. Flip vertically. Wow, look at that. Now custom deactivate when not showing. Configure deactivate. Nah, it does. I don't want to zoom in and lose the picture. So let me see if there's another way of doing it. No, I don't want to fuck it up. I will fuck it up and lose the stream, and there goes that. And you guys will be like, "What the fuck?" But it is moving. I mean, it's not 11:30 what it says, but it's moving. Trust me. It's a little red hand that moves around. Pat DA says, Alex, looking healthy. How's lifting gym time treating you? Any goals this winter? Yes. So my goal this winter. So I already deadlifted 4 plates. I'd like to do 5 before the end of the year. That's like 495. I'd like to bench 3 plates more than once. I've done that once, but I need a spotter. I don't have friends. I don't have gym people that just show up with me and want to go to the gym. I want to go to the gym, but a lot of people don't want to go with me because they're fucking flabby-armed motherfuckers. But goals are 5 plates deadlift and 3 plates bench more than once, and which is 315 or 305. 45. Carry the one. Drop it. I don't know. It's 3 something. So, but I'm squatting. I'm not going to go for goals on squats. I kind of have a weak lower back and I can hurt it pretty easily. So I'm going to stay off of squatting. And deadlifting isn't a functional exercise either. Like it's like bad for everything, but it's just a show of strength. So I'd like to rack up 5 plates, bend the bar a little bit. I can do a bunch of pull-ups. I can do a bunch of things like that. But at the end of the day, I think the power stuff is what kind of impresses me. So that's what I'm going for. Games and Gains Classic. Hey, Alex, I just joined in and I had a question about the 2019 350 on Insta. If you got time to talk about it. Sorry, I'm military and poor. So Gains Classic. Talk about it, brother. We'll see what I can do if I can, come across yourself and your military. So the Chech says, my arms aren't flabby. His arms are flabby. See, if you can't make the sleeve tight, Brandon, this is a large shirt. I'm going to give you a large shirt. And if you can't make the sleeves stress the fuck out like these are getting stressed out, you got flabby arms, bro. I mean, if you're like, oh, look at this gap here, got the gap on the sleeves, you gotta keep the sleeves tight, bro. Girls love tight sleeves. Eric Vega or E Vega says, want to hear some crap about Trump or Clinton? Don't want to get suicided. So, in my dating ventures, I've started to date more Latin women. Why? They're fucking fine, dude. They're fine. So, a lot of Latin women say Trump is a racist. So, like in the middle of a conversation, we're having dinner at Yard House or something. People at Yard House must think I'm the biggest fuckface gigolo on the planet because I go in there and they're like, "Who's this one?" So I was on a date yesterday actually, just hanging out, and she saw Trump on the TV and she was like, "Ese Trump es un racista." I'm like, really? What makes him racist? And they can't answer the question. Oh, because what he says about illegal immigrants. And I'm like, what does he say about illegal immigrants? If they're illegal here and they're committing crimes, what do you want him to say? I just know he's racist and he's orange. I'm just like, holy shit. So I might get off of the Latina bandwagon because that's what seems to be going on in Florida. Not a fan. So yeah, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. I'm weird, right? I'm a Puerto Rican guy that has an American culture. So I can attract a Latina woman, but I can't get along with them because the culture is different. It's all fucked up. Okay, you guys are asking a lot of questions, so let me get to them. Sorry, guys. Okay, so Derek Sizemore says, so a Whipple 10R80 car making 800 wheel without a converter. Do you think there will be a benefit to going 355 or 373 in the 8th? Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have a converter, that 355 is going to help you get out of the hole, and you're going to be like way into 5th probably, or maybe into 6th, just getting into 6th at the 8th. So yeah, it's going to give you definitely a bunch of get up and go if you don't want to buy a converter. But I don't think you need a converter. I think the Lund racing car, actually no, it does. The fast 10 or 80 cars have a Circle D converter, plain and simple. So you got to pay to play, I think. John F says, on second 137 monoblade from VMP and the car still stalls when you blip the accelerator to stoplight. Any ideas on 4 Innovation triple pump and boosting? If we are tuning it, let us know that. But okay, why are you blipping the throttle at a light? That's the other thing I want to know. Do you have an automatic and you just go, and the car's running fine, and you just go, ugh, like for no reason? Are you one of those guys that goes, let me see if it stalls, ugh, and it stalls? Yeah. Does it stall when you drive it like a normal fucking person? No. Stop blipping the throttle. I know that sounds simplistic, but some people have weird conditional complaints about, oh, when I'm blipping the throttle for no reason in park, as I'm rolling, I'm going 50. Then I put it in neutral, and then I go, whoom, and the car stalls. I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, I'm going 50, put it in reverse, put it in sport mode, upshift twice, put it in park, put it in reverse. Car makes a whole bunch of weird noises. Why? You're doing stupid shit. Paul Ferris says, Alex, can Lund tune my Barra motor once I get it running? Stock ECU would be in a 2000 Mustang. Paul, that's a motor I think John Sr. would love to tune. But there's a lot of things that need to happen. We need to know the strategy. We need to know that we have the strategy available to us to tune. That thing's got to have a wideband. And that's probably something we'd have to have in person. But I think that'd be a cool project. That'd be cool. That'd be cool because it gets the Insta fame, the cool shit, you know? Hey, Barra. And if it becomes like a popular swap, we have a bass file. Here's a bass, injector, da-da-da-da-da, boost, and you're on your way, buddy. I'm looking for my, the guy who asked the question who was in the military, who said he's broke, so I'm trying to get at him. Games and Gains Classic. Deadlift helps your core. Core is massively important for all lifts, even bench, promise. Games and Gains Classic, trust me, deadlifts fuck up your back more than it stabilizes your core. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. If you ask the badass powerlifters, they'll tell you it's probably the least functional. It helps your core, but it fucks up so much more. So I stay away from it. I do it very sparingly because the moment I do it, and I do it, you know, I make sure form is legit, back is straight, not curling over, not sumo, because sumo's not a deadlift. Sorry, guys. Sumo's not a deadlift. And my back is sore for weeks. For weeks. Your core. Honestly, man, it hurts my back insane. Oh, you're doing it wrong, Alex. Shut the fuck up. I'm looking at form. Form's legit. When I'm done, I'm in pain. So I'm going to listen to my body and not do it. Marcus Miller, single turbo 13 GT with a manual transmission, shooting for 650 to 700 with a stock block for now. ID 1050, X's, and BAP. Anything else needed fuel-wise? No, brother. 650 is pretty much attainable at about 8 to 9 PSI with the turbo, depending on size. Just keep it there. Anything above that, we're going to probably want race gas or E85, because anything above 650, you're playing with fire on 93. Alex, what else can I do? 93 Roush 2.3, S550, max out on pump on 93. No E85 here in Maryland. Need more horsepower. If you upgrade injectors to like a 1050X, pulley down and put 93 and an octane booster, which I really don't want to recommend, but that's kind of the only route you're going to need, like a Boostane, Torco, or Octanium tune. That's the only way, unless you go E85 or race gas, like MS109, 260 GT, C10, C16, all that shit. Mohammed Daleh says, hi, Alex. I have a 14 GT with a manual. Paxton. Brandon says, I have false knock. Any guidance? I checked the exhaust. Seems okay. Any other areas to look? I have noticed every centrifugal equipped manual car has false knock on a shift. I don't think there's that much we can do about it, because you're overhanging everything in the front off of the accessory drive, and then you shift it and the car goes, and it transfers, in my opinion, all that stuff towards the knock sensor, or the knock sensors pick up all that resonance and they go fuck, and they spike the knock sensors at 9, whereas on a pull in a single gear, the knock sensors add power. So it's more than likely false. So what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to decide right then and there, what do I want? Do I know there are no false knock? Do I know that there's no real detonation or knock sensor activity due to bad fuel or anything? Do you limit the knock sensors? Probably. Do you run race gas? This is the best test to do, Mohammed. Run race gas. Run 260 GT or run MS109. Get an MS109 tune. Run it. Shift it. If it does the exact same thing, the knock sensor is pulling back a bunch of timing. You know it's the knock sensors picking up all the resonance from the centrifugal drive assembly. So then you are going to have to decide, do I limit the knock sensor, run great fuel knowing that it's not real knock, or do you just live with it? That's really up to you. You have assimilated. The women haven't. Probably right. And root beer, you're right. Absolutely. I think the women here, depending on where they come from, like I went to my brother's place one time, and I think Bush was president at the time, and they were just saying some of the dumbest shit. Not my brother, but the family surrounding my brother, the in-laws. They were just saying some of the dumbest shit, and I was like, what? And I couldn't say anything, because what happens? Then it becomes a political argument. It becomes a political argument, and you're arguing with people, no offense, that are uninformed. They have no idea what happens. They watch Univision. Univision. Do you know what Univision is, guys? Univision is Spanish fucking channel. They still have those machines that wiggle your body and say, lose weight, and you see women shaking, and they sell these machines that wiggle your body and lose fat, and then they put saran wrap on their stomachs and butt, and they're like, lose fat, and there's women shaking. Guys, if you have Univision on your cable, put it on and watch the commercials. Probably the funniest shit you'll ever see in your life. Then when you watch Univision News, this is the news for Univision. This is the sports thing for Univision. Hoy, Drew Bledsoe de los New England Patriots tiró para 400 yardas y le ganaron a los Pittsburgh Steelers, And you're like, what's happening? Okay. And then after you see the news, you'll see reports of sports, and then woman possessed by the devil is an actual news item. That's right. On Univision, you will see women, cartel members die of a raid, sports, soccer, and women possessed by the devil. Then it says Trump's racist rants on da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's where most Hispanics get their news, right? They get their news from people that, sell jiggle fat machines, speak Spanglish during sports edition, broadcasts, and then tell you that a woman is possessed by the devil in one word. And then on the next one, on the political report, they tell you that Trump is a racist. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, honestly. Crispy50 says, I'm going to talk about Univision, then I get right back to Mustang shit. At what trans temp should I start to let my 10R80 cool down at the track? Should I let it cool once it hits 200 degrees, or can I go slightly higher? You can go slightly higher. 10R80s like to be warm. They go into gear warm. Once they're cold, they don't like to go into gear. Have you ever been at the track cold as fuck, go down the track and the car slams a limiter, and then on the next trip it doesn't? That's because the transmission warmed up. When I sink the clutch and come to a complete stop, it stalls. So I blip to keep it from stalling or tuning issue. Tuned by Joe at VMP. Any ideas? I'd hit up Joe at VMP. What do you want me to tell you? I'm not tuning it, Zachary. I love you. I'm sorry, not Zachary. John. There's a way of preventing a stall, right? Then the byproduct is probably a high idle or a slow come down, like a, ooh. So there's a way of preventing a stall always. So if you're constantly having issues with a stall because of a throttle and a blip and this and that, if it's not fail-safing and it's driving well, except it stalls, it's more than likely a calibration issue, but I can't guarantee that because I don't know how the calibrations are built over there, and I've never tuned a 132 VMP throttle body. Honestly, I'm sick of tuning these monoblades. The only monoblade worth a damn is the Whipple throttle body and the Kenny Bell 168, and even those have had intermittent issues. So I wish I could give you an example, but anytime we get a monoblade or a throttle body that stalls on us, there are tips and tricks that we do to keep it from stalling, and I named those files stall fix, and it usually fixes the issue. But it only happens with, and it's happened with every throttle body, 65, 67, monoblade, Kenny Bell. It's happened with all of them, and every time we do the tricks to keep it from stalling, they seem to work. Jason Jamin says, hey Alex, once I've received the tune and if I needed revisions, how does that work? Well, Jason, what happens is you get a tune depending on your modifications, and we'll give you directions to data log. And then we would say, data log this way if you have any issues, if you feel anything weird, data log that concern, that specific thing that is happening, data log that. Don't say, oh, it runs fine and here's a log. No, say, look, I got an issue, or hey, look, review my log, review my log, and take a peek at it and see what the deal is. And then we'll be more than happy to take a look at it. But just reply to the same ticket you received the tune in. Do not start a new ticket, because then customer service has to chase down that ticket and then apply it to the tune ticket. It's a pain in the ass. King Bichotazo, Dream Big Studios. Latinas are the best, bro. Latinas are pretty good. Man, white girls are where it's at, bro. Culturally, I'm an American guy. So what stimulates me now is this. Don't get me wrong. Latino women are beautiful women and they're passionate. But I'm telling you, when it comes to stimulating the mind and everything, you know, an Americanized woman, let's say a Latina that's Americanized, now we're talking. But if you're straight off the boat from Panama or Peru, I don't want nothing to do with you. No offense. Dusty says, sorry if I missed it, but a stock fuel rails on a return setup, is this okay for 85 on a TVS? Yeah, you're going to be limited because it's a deadhead setup, not a true return. So you're probably limited to a certain horsepower number. I can't tell you how much, depending on boost, but I think it's okay for low horsepower stuff. Like a Siley fuel system, I think uses stock rails and it deadheads, and it's good to about 700 to 800, maybe a little more, but you know, what are you going to do? Venezuelan. Someone said something about Venezuelan. I got something to say about Venezuelans. I've gone out with Venezuelans. Not for me, bro. And Colombians. Not for me, man. Well, I don't know why. They just don't. They're just not compatible. Not that they're not attractive. They're just not compatible. Can you turn off an aux sensor if on E85? You can turn off an aux sensor anytime. You have to be then responsible for the vehicle, because now the NOx sensors are not protecting it. G to Silk City. I thought Walter was a lady. Best cams for Gen 2, Paxton Vortec, thinking stage 3 or L&M. Thoughts? Yes, both. When and where can I order a blip? A blip? Can you tune a blip? What's a blip? Why the hell would you move here and not assimilate? Honestly, South Florida is different. South Florida, you need to know Spanish. You need to know Spanish. You can't order food in certain places unless you know Spanish. Univision got the best weather chicks. Yep. And most of them have fake asses. I found that out. I experienced my first fake ass not too long ago, and I'm like, that's a fake ass. It didn't look good. Thank you for the heads up. It's definitely slow-moving hurricane. Super slow, though. David Martin comes with the popcorn tune. Can you turn off the NOx sensors? David, really? Google Auto Blip or Blip Box. Thank you very much. G-Unit Silk City, I'm crying. The outfits he had were like Halloween costumes. Bumpity bump. Can you turn off the NOx sensor? Said it again. Wow. Yes, you can turn off the NOx sensor if on E85, but that is up to you, you know, not up to us. We say, hey, bro, write this disclaimer. We turn it off and party. Best cams for Gen 2, already said that. NOx sensor detect knock, a.k.a. detonation. Correct. Or any kind of resonance that has the same frequency as detonation. This Venezuelan chick I'm talking to is kind of crazy in the head. Venezuelans are unbelievably beautiful women, and Argentinian women. Ooh. Oh, you know, it fucks with your head, right? You go, she's so hot, but she's so not compatible. So you just go, F-150, S-550 says, you missed the question, bro. Okay, so let me go back and let me go find it. George did. Juan Slow says, just joined in. How's the weather there? It's fine. It's just raining a little bit. It's not hard at all. Zachary Smith says, took my car to a dyno, then ran it in fourth gear instead of fifth. It made 412 horsepower and 365 torque. Is there a conversion to know what fifth would have been? No, honestly, I don't know exactly what the conversion would have been. You have to test it right then and there because the conditions matter too, especially, and what correction is he using? Is he using STD, SAE, or smoothing 5, smoothing 1? It all factors into how much power it made. Perfect. I think I got that question. Thank you for letting me know I missed a question. Alex, does Lund tune 2.7 F-150s? Absolutely. We have great tunes for 2.7 F-150s. We're going to try E85 on one of them very soon and see how the fuel system keeps up. Colombians are where they at? Nope. Not a fan. Did it. Been there. Done that. Not compatible. Beautiful women. Look, if we're not talking looks, because almost all Latin women from every, there's some ugly ass Puerto Rican girls, there's some gorgeous ass Puerto Rican girls. Colombians are very attractive women. I've seen some ugly Colombian women too. So it all depends on compatibility. So if a Colombian woman assimilates, gets the culture, understands how everything works, she's compatible with me. If she's Colombian, comes here, doesn't learn English, still, loves being from Cali or being from Bogota or being from Medellin, and you have nothing to talk about, it's not going to work. A lot of luck with Asian women. I've never gone out with an Asian woman. Asian girls love you long time. $2, or is it $5? $2. Me so horny. $2. Derek Sizemore says, sorry, one last question on the 10R80 Whipple. Would running a smaller tire versus a gear swap in the 8th work just as well since it's easier to do? Yeah. If you have like a little 26-inch rubber band, but you got to understand with that short sidewall, you're going to have less basically suspension. You'll have less sidewall. You're going to hit the tire kind of hard. It might hit the rim depending on, if you get like one of those road racing Hoosiers, those are pretty good. They're actually pretty good. Bro, go look at Canella's skin, okay? Okay, bicho, white girls get the bichum? Yeah, dude, I have more compatibility. Look, if I was to build a woman, she'd be 5'8" to 5'11", red hair, green or blue eyes, freckled as fuck. That's what I like. Sorry, that's what I like. But look, I find beauty in all of them. But at the end of the day, I like a certain type. I find myself attracted to beautiful women who end up being crazy liberals. I don't care who you vote for, but my God, I can't win. Same here. Culturally, I get along with a woman who got some shit going on up here, gets how the U.S. works, gets sarcasm, gets it. But then they tell me they're like Hillary supporters and shit. And I'm like, that's it. Ever plugged the Mexican broad? I have not. You're going to get me tooed, Alex. I have seen half Mexican, half Chinese. White chicks that grew up Mexican. The hottest white girl is Lana Rhodes. Never heard of him. So F-150 S550 says, what's the horsepower limit on a 6AN fuel system with 525 LPH? Okay, come on, man. You're killing me, bro. Think of it as a stock fuel system, right? Let's say the pump is going to be the limit, the line size will be the limiting factor. So a dash 6 E85 with a GM regulator, 520, that's a good size pump. Probably 700 wheel, maybe 800 on the 85. But man, I really wouldn't want to play that game. I'd do at least a dash 8 in that guy. So a dash 8 with that setup could probably support close to 800 on the 85. But man, don't quote me on that shit. And don't say, Alex said it's okay, so tune me. Fuck that shit. Hillary supporters like to get pegged. 2010 Roush Stage 3 says, chasing 10s, 2017 GT, 2.9 Whipple, 28-inch tall tire, 373s, Ben Calaman TD2. What shift point do you recommend? They stop making power. 7,500. Pull the gear, 7,500. Alex, what's your opinion on M&H Racemaster tires? Very good tire. Was my first drag radial experience, and an M&H Racemaster was excellent, especially on the street. So is a Hoosier. A Hoosier drag tire like a QTP, QuickTime Pro, or a full slick is nasty on the street. It straight gets it. Deech works 95 max horsepower numbers on E85, 800 or so, 800 to 900. You could treat it like a ID 1000. A 1000cc injector is going to start running out of steam at about high 800s in a Coyote, but it all depends on RPM too. Injector Dynamics has a great chart to tell you when an injector is going to run out of fuel at what RPM for what size engine. So go to injector dynamics, go to the injector calculator, something in there, and plug in all the numbers you want, and you'll be able to see where a 1000cc injector tends to run out on what fuel, on what RPM, everything. It's very well made out. Okay, let's get to politics. No. Helix is steering. Okay, ever plug a Middle Eastern chick? Yes. Very nice. No issue. Middle Eastern? Middle Eastern. No. Indian. So the dot, not the feather. That was way back. But not Middle Eastern, like Lebanese or, Iranian or anything like that. No, I don't think so. Okay, big noses and bushes. Jesus Christ. Okay, I got to get out of here. Making sure I didn't miss any questions so I don't get YouTubers on my ass. Seems like I covered everyone. Thank you for watching this Monday edition, the hurricane edition of my live stream. I'll try to get back to you guys maybe later on in the week, depending on how it shakes out, how much damage I got. I'll let you know what's going on. I'll try to get some videos out on the Fairmont. The 19 GT, yes, something's happening with that. And then hopefully we'll get some more videos out there. But look, it's been hurricane prep all week. I appreciate you guys supporting me, even on a Monday on an unannounced live stream. You guys are awesome, badass. You are here to support me, and I appreciate it. So thanks for talking. Someone said shaking my head, Alex. Whatever. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.